Okay, so good morning, everyone. So before I start, I'm going to share my slide first. Okay, so I hope everyone is doing fine. And once again, good morning. Before I start with the discussion, I would like to say thank you again to VIBAL Publishing for giving me the opportunity to once again share my knowledge and what I know in this topic that we have for today, beyond ICT, integrating basic programming in non-ICT subjects. Now, I know you might be wondering na programming, kahit na sabihing basic, pero programming pa rin to eh. So baka mahirap to. And anong alam ko dito? Because I am a non-ICT teacher. And ang mabigat na concern natin for today is online na nga lang tayo and meron tayong MELC na dapat sundin. Bakit ko pa kailangang idagdag itong basic programming sa klase ko? Well, as we move on with our discussion, you would know the answer to these questions. And I hope at the end of the webinar, ma-encourage ko kayo, mga kapwa ko guro, na gamitin ang mga application at tools na ipapakita ko sa inyo para mapalawak at mapagpayabong pa natin ang mga kasanayan ng ating mga mag-aaral. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, for the whole duration of our discussion, we would be guided by these three questions. So I have here, number one, how important is knowing basic programming? So later on, as we go with our discussion, we would connect this to the industry na kabibilangan ng ating mga mag-aaral in the future, which is Industry 4.0 or the Fourth Industrial Revolution. And then number two, what are the online and offline applications that we can use? So I will be showing you my top three applications that I use in my class, wherein actually I'm an English teacher. Pero I use also these three applications to integrate basic programming or introduce basic programming to my students. Okay, and number three, how can we use these applications and integrate it in our lesson? So later on, I'll be showing you concrete examples of activities and competencies that we can tap in our different non-ICT subjects wherein kaya nating i-integrate itong mga applications and tools na ipapakita ko sa inyo. Now, just as we have discussed last time, for those who were with me during the webinar on enriching the speaking skills of our students, the world is changing. So, parallelly, the world of work is changing and shifting to a new paradigm. And this shift came in even earlier than expected because of the pandemic, because of COVID-19. Now, kasi bawal lumabas, bawal mag-social gatherings, katulad ng webinar natin ngayon, na kung bago mag-new normal, nasa isang lugar tayo, face-to-face ang seminar, na bago na rin ang ating mga pamamaraan. At lahat ngayon, as you can see, ay pinapagalaw ng internet at ng iba't ibang mga teknolohiya. Now, in this new industry, some jobs will be lost and many others will be created. Almost everything will change. Artificial intelligence, automation, robotics will make this shift as significant as the machination in prior generations. So ano ba yung mga prior generations natin? But before we do that, saan nga ba nanggaling itong mga pagbabagong ito sa ating sa ating industriya? At ano ang dulot ng mga pagbabagong ito sa magiging mga trabaho ng ating mag-aaral sa hinaharap? Now, from the first industrial revolution, with the introduction of machination, steam, and water power engines, to the second industrial revolution, with the emergence of mass production, electricity, to the third industrial revolution, with the coming of electronics, IT systems, and automation. The world of work is now in its fourth industrial revolution, which have been dominantly brought by the cyber-physical system of things. At ano naman itong tinatawag na fourth industrial revolution na ito? At bakit ito mahalaga na pag-usapan natin dito sa ating webinar? So gaano ito nakakaapekto sa industriya natin, sa ekonomiya, at sa magiging hinaharap ng ating mga mag-aaral. Pero bago natin sagutin ang mga ito, mag-backgrounder muna tayo. So as a refresher for those who were with me last time, now it was during the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, that Klaus Schwab, 2016, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, announced to the world that these technological changes and advancements that we are currently experiencing is the fruit of the fourth industrial revolution. Now, the fourth industrial revolution is a new chapter in the human development, wherein it dramatically changes the way humans think, live, work, think, decide, and interact with each other. At kung napapansin ninyo, ang mga klase rin ng mga estudyante na meron tayo ngayon ay medyo naka-align sa fourth industrial revolution. Kasama na rin sila sa mga sistema na nakadepende sa internet at technology. Katulad natin ngayon, mga teachers. So, pinapagana tayo ng internet, ng technology, ng laptop, dahil nasa online, nasa webinar din tayo ngayon. At bilang mga guro, dapat natin maikonekta ang mga teknolohiyang ito sa pagtuturo sa ating mga mag-aaral dahil sa huli, ang mga ito, ang tao at teknolohiya ay dapat naka-sync sa isa't isa. Now, coming in with, currently we have augmented realities, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, quantum computing, tapos we also have the Internet of Things na lahat ng gamit natin sa bahay, mobile phones, laptops, smart TV, nasa isang wifi lang, nag-uusap-usap lahat yan. And other fast advancing technologies, according to Schwab, this pointed out the upheaval in the economic and political scene is a byproduct of these forces that drives the fourth industrial revolution. So itong mga new technologies na to, advancements sa technologies, ito yung mga forces that drives the fourth industrial revolution. At ito rin yung nagdidikta sa magiging career natin sa future. So sa ibang mga bansa, lalo na sa mga first world countries, sa US, actually may technological race ang US at ang China. Na kung sino yung unang makadiscover ng 5G, siya daw yung makakapag-control ng mundo dahil kontrolado tayo lahat ng internet eh. So kung sino yung makakapagbigay ng 5G, siya yung pinakamalakas na country ngayon. Now, naghahanda yung mga ibang countries, first world countries, at talagang focus sila sa impact ng fourth industrial revolution sa lahat ng aspeto at kagawaran ng kanilang mga bansa. Pero dito kaya sa Pilipinas, aware kaya tayo dito? Well, maybe yes. Well, maybe also no. Now, in the local scenario, we have felt tangibly, or we have tangibly felt and experienced the coming of the fourth industrial revolution during the advent of online navigation applications. Also, our very own TNVS, or the Transport Network Vehicle Services. And at the same time, our favorite online shopping platforms. And the most recent, actually, if you have noticed, nung face-to-face papalipan lumabas, in McDonald's and Jollibee, they already have the self-order kiosk. Yung pipindot ka na lang tapos mag-order na. Now, slowly, industries in the Philippines are also adapting to the technological changes that are happening globally. But what would be the implications of this to the world that we know? What would be the implications of this to the classroom that we know? And what would be the implication of this to the students that we know? At bakit mahalaga itong malaman para sa webinar natin ngayon? Now, dahil nababawasan ang lumalabas para mag-grocery, nababawasan ang pila sa cashier, nababawasan ang mga nagda-dine-in sa mga kainan, nababawasan na rin ang empleyado sa grocery stores. So kung napapansin ninyo, dahil nga sa COVID-19, nababawasan na rin ang maliliit na mga tindahan dahil napupunta na sa Facebook, sa online selling. nababawasan na ang server sa restaurant at na babawasan na rin mga cashier sa restaurant. So hindi na kailangan masyadong madaming tao sa mga restaurants kasi yung iba nag-order na lang din sila online. At the same time, even sa bangko, nababawasan na rin ang mga teller sa bangko dahil meron na tayong online banking. At ang mga ito ay produkto ng Fourth Industrial Revolution. Now, dahil lahat pinapagana na ngayon ng internet, lahat nagiging available na online. May online banking, online delivery, online shopping, at iba naman, at dahil dito, nag-iiba ang magiging trabaho sa susunod na mga taon. Now, in a working paper by Chang and Yoon, 2016, for the International Labour Organization, they forewarned that approximately 56% of all employment in the ASEAN 5, so that's Cambodia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, is at high risk of work displacement. And that is because of the advancement of technology and automation. So dahil sa mga online platforms, may mga mawawalan ng trabaho. May mga mag-shift ng trabaho. Dahil din sa automation sa factory. So may mga mawawalan ng trabaho and at the same time, meron ding mag-shift ng trabaho. Now, at hindi lang displacement ang magkakaroon actually sa hinaharap. Although sinabi ko na may madaming mawawalan ng trabaho, pero at the same time, so it's a balance, madami ring naman mga bagong trabahong uusbong. So just like, for example, yung mga YouTuber, before wala namang streamers, wala namang game streamers, wala namang YouTubers, right? So dahil nga sa in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, dumadami itong mga streamers natin, gamers natin online, and kahit mga artista nag-Mobile Legends na rin, nag-stream na rin. So mas lucrative ngayon yung mga nasa online. Now, based on the same report by Chang and Yoon, 447,000 sewing machine operators in Cambodia. So ito yung mga examples ng careers na medyo maapektuhan. Okay? Are at high risk of displacement. Same with the 1.7 million office clerks in Indonesia and 2.2 million shop and salespersons and administrators in the Philippines. Kasi nga, mostly online na eh. So online selling ng uso sa Pilipinas. 624,000 food service counter attendants in Thailand and 769,000 sewing machine operators in Vietnam are at high risk of automation. Now, with the changing world order, as you can see, due to the advent of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, how are we going to respond to it locally? So dito sa Pilipinas, paano kaya tayo makakahabol? How is the educational sector taking these things as the school of learning that molds the future workforce? So since tayong mga guro, tayong mga nasa eskwelahan, nasa academe, tayo yung school of learning na naghuhubog or nagpo-form ng mga future workforce natin dito sa ating bansa, anong dapat nating gawin? Given na ito ang mga trabahong medyo alanganin sa hinaharap, ano naman ang mga trabahong magiging in demand sa susunod na mga 10 taon? So, downside and upside. So, let's look at the two sides of the coin. So, kung ito ang mga trabahong medyo wawala, meron din naman mga trabahong uusbong. So, I hope this one is a good news for you. Kasi according to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, the top 3 in-demand jobs in the next 10 years are software developers, registered nurses. Well, it's a no-brainer kasi may COVID, so mas naging health conscious tayo ngayon. And at the same time, number 3, post-secondary education teachers. So for us teachers, in demand pa rin tayo. Although dito college teachers, magiging in demand daw sila. Pero personally, and I also think na as long as may mga batang pinapanganak, may mga mag-aaral. So for that long time, magiging in demand pa rin tayo. So stable pa rin tayo mga teachers. Now, ito yung salary dito is in dollars dahil this one came from the US. So if ever, for example, you would like to go to the US, pero let's stay here, okay? Because this is all about passion and commitment to our Filipino students. Okay? So, hindi naman masyadong nakakagulat na ito yung mga magiging in-demand na trabaho sa susunod na 10 taon since kaliwat kanan, iba't ibang mga teknolohiya ang nakikita natin at nagpapatakbo sa mundo natin ngayon. And as teachers, we need to prepare our students for the job of the future. At an early stage, we need to equip them with skills and competencies that they would need in order to succeed in this fast-changing world, which is mainly dominated by advanced technologies. And for today, we would focus on one of the skills that our students of today should know, now which is programming. Pero Miss Sarah, hindi naman ako ICT teacher. Ano alam ko dyan? So baka mahirap to sa akin, nakakatakot kasi wala naman ako, zero knowledge ako sa programming eh. And at the same time, paano kung hindi naman talaga gusto ng bata maging software developer in the future? Well, knowing basic programming doesn't really mean na magiging software developer sila in the future, or teaching them programming doesn't mean na ipupush natin sila maging software developer in the future. It just means na we can use programming ideas sa pag-cultivate ng logical thinking, creative thinking, and problem-solving skills ng students. So either way, by introducing to them basic programming skills, na de-develop natin sila kahit hindi naman nila gusto maging software developers in the future. Now, even as non-ICT subject teachers, we should expose our students to basic programming. And the earlier is actually the better. Now, how can we do this? We can integrate educational tools that can introduce to our students the rudiments of programming. And this would be actually the focus of our webinar for today. Now, 2 questions that I have here. How can we do this as a non-ICT teacher? And what are the basic programming applications that we can use? Now, initially, I would be presenting to you my top 3 basic programming tools, which are Lightbot, Codable, and MBlock. Now later, I'm going to give you a walkthrough on the interface of these 3 applications. And at the same time, I'm going to show you possible activities that you can do using these 3 applications. Now, Lightbot is an educational video game for learning software programming concepts. It is available as an online flash game and an application for Android and iOS mobile phones. So for example, yung student mo, wala siyang laptop, wala siyang desktop, pwede siya sa mobile, pwede rin siya sa Apple na phones. Okay, so this one is very flexible. Now, later on, I will show you an example on how we can use Lightbot. And as you can see from the graphics, medyo talagang game yung itsura niya. So later, bibigyan ko kayo ng isang example kung paano natin siya magagamit. The next one is Codable. Now, Codable is an all-in-one programming curriculum for elementary schools. Now, it has its own dashboard, or it has its own website wherein may sariling account si teacher. And there's really a very thorough and robust curriculum embedded in this Codable. Now, ano siya, series of steps siya. And for STEM teachers, kung ICT teacher ka talaga, maganda to for you. For non-ICT teachers, maganda rin naman to for you. Kasi you can learn from this, and at the same time, you can apply this in your different classroom instruction. Now, it provides an engaging game paired with a full curriculum that takes students from learning to think like a programmer. In kindergarten, so from kindergarten, nagpo-programming na yung ibang mga bansa. So I hope sa Philippines makahabol tayo. to writing real JavaScript by 5th grade. So this one is for kinder to grade 5. And lastly, I will also show you MBlock. So MBlock is a STEAM programming software tool designed for programming for kids. Now, it is developed based on Scratch 3.0. So as you can see, kamukha siya ng interface ng Scratch for those who know Scratch programming or for those who know Scratch 3.0. And Arduino code. So meron siyang block codes, meron din siyang Python script writing. Now, it supports block-based and text-based programming languages. Okay, so now I will show you one example or a walkthrough on Lightbot. So Lightbot, again, is a puzzle game based on coding. And actually, through a game, it secretly teaches the students logic, programming logic as they play. Okay, so this is Lightbot, and as mentioned a while ago, it is available as an online flash game and an application for Android and iOS mobile phones. So right now, I am screen recording the application from my browser. So this one is being run by Flash Player. So click natin yung play. And as you can see, this clearly looks like a game. And paano naman natin ito magagamit sa ating subject? Isa tong game. Now, by using Lightbot, we can gamify our lessons, making it more interactive and fun for the students. Now, let's try and do a level. Okay, so we have different levels. So as you go along, ma-unlock natin yung ibang mga levels. So let's try level 1. Ayan. So, meron dito mga rules, set of rules that you need to do. And may end goal rin tayo dito. So, the end goal is for you to be able to help Lightbot to light up the blue tiles. Yan. And then may mga different commands. Okay? So let's start with the game. Now, as simple as this one, yung commands, yung tiles for the commands are under. So we can click that one. Ayan. So papalakarin lang natin si Lightbot patungo dun sa box or cube na may color blue. Okay, and then after that one, you go to the next level. So, mas dumadami na yung commands this time. Okay, so papapuntahin natin si Lightbot patungo sa blue na box or blue tile. Okay, with the commands here at the bottom. So, let's see. Okay. So, kailangan makapunta siya dito sa end goal natin. So, ayan. So, as you can see, hindi gumana yung commands kasi may isang step na hindi natin nagawa. So, let's redo. And then, click on the tiles para matanggal siya. And then, try ulit natin. So, forward ng 2 beses. Then, ikot. Then, 2 beses na forward. Then, turn ulit. Then, forward na 2 beses. And then, light up. So, let's see kung gagana siya this time. Okay. So, ganyan. This is how we play Lightbot. And with Lightbot, this game, it is actually a puzzle game based on coding. So secretly, by playing the game, it teaches us or our students programming logic as they play. And in here, they will learn sequencing, overloading, procedures, recursive loops, and also conditionals. So it's a tile-based programming game for the students to be introduced to the basics of programming. Yan, okay. So that's how we play Lightbot. Now, the question here is, so paano natin siya magagamit sa lesson natin? Na alam na natin kung paano siya gamitin, so talagang game lang siya. How can we integrate that one in our subject matter? Now, for example, I have here one activity. Now, this one, we can tap competencies like, for example, from English grade 1, Mother Tongue grade 1, or grade 2 with the competencies here, which is mostly on following step directions or following directions. And at the same time, it can also tap competencies like giving directions. So for example, ang activity, given with that competency, this activity, somehow you can use this for your class. So for example, choose a level in the Lightbot game and write down the commands or directions given for Lightbot to be able to do the task and use signal words in giving your directions. So in here, number 1, nakapaglaro na yung bata, na-gamify natin, naging mas interactive, naging mas interesting and fun for them. And at the same time, number 2, na-tap natin yung competencies. So papagsulatin natin sila, hindi lang siya magiging game, magiging educational game siya this time. So gagawin nilang game, susulat sila kung ano yung naging direction. So walk 3 steps, something like that. Tapos, isi-share ng mga bata sa class. Now, in here, ayun nga, so nakuha natin, na-top natin yung different competencies for the following subjects. Now, dito, naturuan natin sila on how to do basic programming. At the same time, naturuan din natin sila on the skills that they need to know sa subject natin. Okay? So I hope this is very basic, pero later as we go along with the discussion, mas magiging challenging na yung mga next activities. Okay, now this time, this is Codable. Now, let's see kung paano naman natin magagamit si Codable sa ating mga subject areas. Okay, so welcome to Codable. So as you can see, meron tayong dashboard for Codable. Now, for me, I have already logged in. So as you can see, nakapangalan siya sa akin. And in our dashboard, you can see your classes. You can add students. At the same time, meron tayong lesson library. So in here, yung lesson library would teach the students on the basics of programming. Yan. So may introduction to coding, and then other stuff, sequencing. Then we also have different videos, video tutorial for the students. And you would see here assignments. So may pre-made assignments na per level, so per step siya. So they will start doing sequence sector, so yung algorithm, sequencing, conditionals, the loops, and the different functions. Now let's try the student view and let's start playing. Okay, so in here, ito yung makikita ng mga estudyante natin sa application nila. Now, let's try a very basic activity. For example, your subject is English and your topic is adjectives. Now, for the lower grades, yan. You ask them to do a fuzz or to create their own fuzz. Then for me, let's try this one. Yan, and then click build. So as you can see here, step by step, sinasabi ni Codable kung paano yung gagawin. So for beginners, pwede to. For example, class. So the name of our fuzz would be Sag. For example, Sag. Yan. And in here, makikita nyo may script. Now, makakurious yung mga bata. And then they would ask, what is this for? And how to do this one, how to use this one. Now, with this, we open their minds to programming, to coding. Pero dito, since basic pa lang tayo, we also have different tiles here at the bottom. So let's try the body. Yan. So may script na ginagawa. And then pipili sila. So for example, let's try, okay, panda. For example, panda. Yan. And then for the eyes ng panda, let's try goofy. Okay, and then for the mouth, okay, let's try a big smile. Side smile, okay? And then add item. Lagyan natin ng glasses. Okay, and then let's try to add a hat. And then top hat. Yan. Okay, so now you have your fuzz. And then ang gagawin lang natin is save fuzz. Ayan. And then for our students, we can do this activity for lessons like, for example, adjectives. Nagagawa sila ng sarili nilang fuzz, and then they will show and tell. They will show to the class their creation and describe kung ano itsura or give descriptive words for their fuzz. So, pwede to sa English and then pwede rin to sa Filipino. Okay, so that's codable. But aside from building the fuzz, madami pa mga other activities na meron embedded or nandun sa codable na dashboard ni teacher when you log in. So one example that I gave here is for teaching adjectives. Now in here, competencies that we have here are identifying the use of adjectives in sentences. So that can be that one is from Mother Tongue Grade 2. And then composing clear and coherent sentences using appropriate kinds of adjectives. So yun yung dalawang competencies na pwede nating matap with this simple activity. Now, you can give an activity direction like this. Create your own fuzz using a fuzz builder. Introduce to the class your created fuzz and present it using adjectives in your sentences. So in here, yung bata, during your online classes, they can create their own fuzz and then share screen sila, tapos papakita. So parang show and tell na you are building their speaking skills and at the same time, their grammar skills kasi ini-integrate nila yung adjectives dun sa pag-present ng mga fuzz nila. Okay? So that one, I hope you can explore this one. Kindly log in or create an account and it's only for free. May mga parts lang na yung mga advanced parts na you need to pay, but this is for free, yung initial. Okay? So, and then lastly, we have the M block. Now, my favorite is the M block kasi technically, wala pa ako masyadong nakikitang activity na hindi natin kayang i-integrate or i-connect sa subject natin na hindi kayang gawin ni M-Block. So this one is a very good one, most especially for higher grades, for example, grades 3 to 6, so pwede na sila dito. But others, sa ibang mga schools na nakita ko, public schools these are public schools. Sa ibang mga schools na nakita ko, kaya na ng grade 1 or grade 2 ito. So if you are aware and if you know Scratch, so somehow magkamukha sila. Okay, so welcome to M-Block. Now, as you can see, yung interface niya, mukha siyang Scratch, if you know Scratch, and mukha siyang interface din ng Microbit. Now, this M-Block is also based on Scratch 3.0, kaya medyo magkaitsura sila. Now, in here, we have different parts, and this part is what you call the block categories. So we have different categories. We have looks, sound, events, control, sensing, operators, variables, and my blocks. So yung iba medyo advanced siya, but mostly for us, we will do looks, sound, events, and control. Now, this one naman, what we have here, this area is what you call the block palette. And eto mga to, we call this one the blocks. Okay? And then this area, yung empty area, we call it the script area. So dito natin ida-drag and drop yung mga commands or yung mga blocks para makagawa tayo ng command para sa makikita natin dito sa display area or the stage. Yan. So as you can see, kapag drinag ko dito and then release, madidelete siya. Now, dito naman, we have the devices, the sprite, and the background. When you say sprite, ito yung mga characters natin. Now, let's change the background. So, ang story natin, we will create a story ni Langgam at ni Tipaklong. So, for example, this one. Yan. Let's try that one. So, as you can see, nagbago na yung stage, yung background sa stage. And for the sprite, so, ano muna tayo? Narrator. So, madami yan. Madaming sprites. I'll be using this girl. Pero as you can see, kung wala kayong makuha dito sa madaming sprites na nasa library, you can also upload your own or you can also create your own by painting it. But for me, okay na ako dito sa sprite natin dito. Yung girl. Yan. And then click OK. Yan. So, nandiyan na siya. Now, pwede mo siyang i-drag and drop whichever place you would like her to be. And then, pwede mo rin naman siyang palakarin. Yan. So, ito yung mga commands natin nasa blocks. Now, let's start with doing our script. So, when flag is clicked, always start with that one para kapag na-click to, magpe-play yung script mo. Okay, so when flag is clicked, magsasalita siya. Yan. So, instead of saying hello, let's put the story. So, isang umaga, okay. So, for example here, isang umaga, may isang langgam na nag-iimbak ng pagkain. Now, yung number of seconds dito, ito yung kung ilang seconds siya makikita. So, let's try 3 seconds. Okay? Then, let's put another one. Yan. Nalaman kasi ni langgam na nagkakaroon ng isang bagyo. Yan. And then again, for 3 seconds. And then, after nyan, lalabas na si langgam. Now, kailangan natin mag-add ng langgam. So, sa animals, we have the ant. Yan. And then, as you can see, andito siya. So, hide muna natin yan. Okay. And then, dito sa part na to, sa dulo, since after nyan, dapat mawawala na siya, si langgam na yung mag-show, i-hide natin siya. Kasunod nung pagkasinabi niya na itong line na to. Yan. Okay, so may part 2 yan. Kasi si narrator pa lang yung na-program natin. Now, how about si langgam? But before I show you the video on how we can program si langgam, dito as you can see na mako-cultivate natin sa mga bata yung logical thinking nila. So there are different set of commands in each blocks and talagang mag-a-analyze sila. So analytical thinking kung paano nila mapapagalaw or ma-animate yung mga sprite or yung mga characters dito. Now let's see yung kay langgam. Ayan, so tapos na tayo sa paggawa ng script ng ating narrator. Now, dito naman tayo kay langgam. So, for example, click natin si langgam para magawa natin yung script niya. Now, as you can see in here, nagsasalita muna si narrator ng 5, 10 seconds, tapos wait 1 second bago siya mag-hide. So, kukunin natin yan. So, 11 seconds. Kasi magkadugtong lahat ng mga script per sprite. Now, start ulit with the event. So, when flag is clicked, and then control, wait for, so kanina, sabi dito, 11 seconds. So, gawin natin at least 12 seconds. And wait for 12 seconds. Tapos, since naka-hide si langgam kanina, go to looks, mag-show na siya. So, show. Okay, show siya after 12 seconds, tapos magsasalita na siya. Okay. So sabi niya, for example, is, naku, mukhang uulan ng malakas. And so, for example, 3 seconds. And then another one, kailangan kong mag-imbak ng aking makakain. Yan. So, since medyo mahaba siya, 4 seconds natin yan. Okay? So, try natin. Yan. So, try natin na kung gumagana yung binigay natin or ginawa nating script. So, click the flag. Isang araw, may isang langgam na nag-iimbak ng pagkain. Nalaman niya kasi na magkakaroon ng malakas na bagyo. Naku, mukhang uulan ng malakas. Kailangan ko mag-imbak ng aking makakain. Okay, so ganun lang yung paggawa ng ating story using M-block. So for example, you have your, instead of asking the children to make a comic strip, so sa English or Filipino or any subject na magka-comic strip kayo, at least dito mas advanced tayo. So we are using M-block sa pag-animate ng ating mga stories, sa pag-animate ng mga sagot ng mga bata. Okay, so I hope you can also apply this in your different subject areas. Okay, so ito yung magandang tool. For example, yung estudyante natin, hindi siya masyado on the creative side. So, hindi siya masyado magaling mag-drawing. So, sometimes nagiging factor yan para kay teacher sa pagbibigay ng score. Although, dapat hindi. Kasi we should focus on content. Kung hindi naman tayo arts teacher or kung hindi naman yun yung focus na skill ng ating lesson. Now, for those na hindi masyado creative, they can use this one, yung M-block, para sa mga paggawa ng comic strip o kaya ng mga animated stories. Now, in here, natatap natin yung creativity rin ng mga bata for choosing the different kind of sprites or at the same time, creating their own. So, they can also draw dun sa loob ng sprite maker. And then, dito, ma-cultivate din yung basic, yung knowledge nila on the basic programming, and at the same time, yun nga, logical thinking, analytical thinking. So talagang matatap natin yung HOTS or higher order thinking skills ng mga bata. Now, ito yung kagandahan na at an early age, we introduce to them basic programming. Kasi number one, ito yung in-demand na job that would be in the future. And at the same time, number two, hindi lang siya dahil na, sige, magiging software developer ka in the future or hindi. Kung hindi, na-cultivate sa'yo yung thinking deeply. Yung talagang mag-iisip sila, yung logic. So, I hope you enjoyed that one. And this activity, in this activity that I have shown, we were able to tap these competencies. So write a simple story that is for English grade 2. And for Filipino, pwede rin naman, nagagamit ang angkop na mga salita at simbolo sa pagsulat ng script. So that is for Filipino grade 7. So kahit na anong grade level, actually pwede siya. Kahit na mga higher grades. Kasi it becomes complex. So, depende sa bata. Depende rin sa knowledge niya. So, eto mga estudyante natin ngayon, minsan na-underestimate natin sila eh. Akala natin, di nila kaya. Pero kapag iwan nyo lang yan, bigay nyo lang yan sa kanila, iwan nyo lang yan. Mag-explore yan and for sure, alam nila na yan after 5 minutes because after all, they are the digital natives. Now, in this activity, you can give a direction like this. So for English, create a simple story and animate it using M-block. And for Filipino, pwede namang gumawa ng isang istorya gamit ang inyong nalikhang script. At sa pamamagitan ng M-block, bigyang buhay ang inyong script. Okay, so if you have learn at home kits like this, actually, pwede mo rin siyang i-integrate. So, ito very good example of one performance task in the Learn at Home kit that I have seen na pwede natin siyang i-translate or gawin sa M-block. So, in here, ang instruction is to write a tour material. So it's paragraph writing. Then, as usual, so for English and Filipino, meron tayong pre-writing activities, draft, revising, editing, and then writing the final draft. Now, ngayong meron ka ng final draft, and then lastly, it says their share. Aside from sharing it with your family, mas magiging interactive ngayon kung gagawa tayo ng animated version ng paragraph na to using mBlock. Okay? So, yun yung parang nagpapa-level up ng mga activities natin ngayon. Since online rin naman tayo at may mga gadgets yung mga bata, may mga internet, so why not? Why not use this opportunity for them to learn new things, to learn new skills? Okay? So this is one good example wherein we can integrate our mBlock dito sa Learn at Home Kit na performance task that we have. Okay? Now, for VIBAL, they have different learn at home kits. So actually for me, very very robust yung mga activities niya. So I really like this one. So I hope you can also get this, and then later let's do some integration of the different programs that I showed you sa mga worksheets or sa mga activities na nandito sa Learn at Home Kits. Now, additional input. Now this time, ano naman tayo? Si teacher naman. Now, hindi lang yung mga bata yung matututo. May opportunity rin for the teacher to learn basic programming by integrating basic programming applications sa different subject areas. Kasi as teacher, of course, we cannot teach what we don't know. So, eto, dapat pag-aralan din natin siya. Pero as you can see, sobrang dali niya lang. And there are a lot of video tutorials on how to do this one or how to use this one. Now, what I have here is I program an activity or I program something for mathematics. Ito naman kung frontal discussion at si teacher yung gagamit ng mBlock para mas maging interactive, mag-gamify, magiging fun yung activity natin for mathematics. Okay?
Okay, so additional points for us would be, paano naman kung si teacher actually pwede rin siya matuto ng basic programming using mBlock. And ito naman, this activity would be used by the teacher for frontal discussion of a subject or a lesson in mathematics. So for example, ang activity natin is addition. Now, let's start with the background. So, I have here, pinalitan na natin background. Nasa classroom tayo. And for the sprite, we have here the teacher. Okay, so let's start with events. When flag is clicked. Yan. And then, gawa naman tayo ng variables. So, I have here the variables na. So, A and B. But for you to know how I created my variable, click make a variable. Then type A, then click OK, or B, then click OK. So, para saan tong variable na to? Well, just as any variable. So, gagamitin natin siya to represent a number. Okay? So, for example, when flag is clicked, okay, set A to, and then isa pang set A. Yan. Since ito, set A to random numbers. Yan. So, pick a random number. Pasok natin yan dyan. And if your topic is about adding numbers up to 100, then pick a random number from 1 to 100. And then the other one naman, set B. Okay. And then pick random numbers from 1 to 100. Yan. So, after that one, magtatanong na si teacher. Dito tayo sa sensing. Okay. So, ask what's your name and weight, but instead of asking what's your name, ang i-ask niya is what is random number plus another random number. So from operators, okay, get join. Okay, so what is, type natin dito, what is, then get another join para magkasya. Okay, what is variable? A, tapos kuha ulit tayo ng join para magkasya, plus, okay, then get the other variable, B. Yan. So, Yan yung itatanong ni teacher. So, join what is A plus B. Now, for the next part, kapag sasagot naman na si student, ayusin natin yung script for that one. Now, from control, get if then else. Yan. Pasok natin siya dyan. And then, kunin natin sa operators. Etong apple contains A. So, shoot natin siya dyan. As you can see, may mga shapes sila. So, kapag hindi ka shape, hindi siya pa pwedeng ipasok. Now, okay. So, instead of apple, if, yan, sensing. Dito tayo sa sensing. If the answer contains, okay, operators tayo. Okay, pasok natin yan, yung may plus. So, as you can see, pwede ito sa minus, multiplication, and division. Subtraction. Okay, so if the answer contains A, so yun, medyo makulit siya. Pasok natin dyan. A plus B. Okay, then, dito tayo sa looks. Say, correct. For 2 seconds. Else, kung hindi naman the answer contains A plus B, then ang sasabihin is wrong for 2 seconds. Yan. So, let's see kung gagana siya sa atin. Yan. So, what is 23 plus 17? Yan. So, 23 plus 17 is 40. So, let's try 40. Okay, correct.
Okay. So as you can see here, commands talaga siya. So set of commands, tapos yung logic ng pagkakasunod-sunod dapat ng mga commands. Now in here, pwede siyang gawin for an activity. For example, your activity is add numbers from 1 to 100. And then competencies that you can tap here is illustrates addition as putting together or combining or joining sets. So this is for grade 1. Now, this is for frontal discussion. Si teacher ang gumawa para sa pagtuturo niya. Tapos yung mga students mag-answer dun sa program niya. Or at the same time, for higher grades, you can also give this one as an activity for your students. So number 1, magtuturo ka na about math. And number 2, makakagawa pa sila ng sarili nilang games. Now, in here, yung student natin sa higher grades, pwede nating pagawin sila ng same activity. Tapos, isi-share nila sa ka-classmate nila. Papasagutan nila sa ka-classmate nila. Then at the same time, yung ka-classmate nila, pwede sila mag-exchange ng ginawang game. So that way, na kapag programming na sila, at the same time, natutunan pa nila yung skill na kailangan nilang matutunan sa mathematics. Okay? So, I hope you have learned a lot of things from me and from my sharing on the top 3 basic programming applications that I use for my classes. And I hope that you can use this one also in your different classes for a much more interactive, fun, and a deeper instruction, classroom activities or experiences with your students. Okay, so I hope you have learned a lot and thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much, Mom Sarah. Now we'll proceed to the question and answer po. Okay, the first question po is from Miss Doria Wendell. What would be the simplest tool that can be used by newbie in programming?
Okay, so yung M-Block medyo advanced na siya. Actually, yung Lightbot, yan, that's the simplest one that I have seen. And at the same time, did you know sa Minecraft? Okay, so by asking the students to create, for example, anyong lupa, anyong tubig sa Minecraft, it's also giving them an introduction to basic programming, basic coding.
Thank you so much, Ma'am. The next question po is from Miss Ruby Samaniego. Good morning po, Ma'am. Is Gamebot can be saved for offline use?
Actually, I also downloaded it in my phone. So, nandun naman siya kapag dinownload natin siya from Android store. So, nasa-save naman siya.
Okay po, Ma'am. Next po, question is from Mr. Ray Angelo Alejo. Good morning po. Are this application accessible to students anytime or just for a specific time that the teacher made it available?
For the codable, the teacher, as you can see, may dashboard tayo dun. So the teacher can give access parang certain duration lang. Pero the teacher can also give it to them na parang forever access, para something like that, na open for the students. Para kahit na hindi during class time, pwede pa nilang gawin for additional practice. And at the same time, for Lightbot, actually it's more on ano game talaga siya. So, pupuwede siya sa phone ng bata. So, open siya kahit na wala masyadong control si teacher on that one. For the M Block, so for the M Block pupuwede rin naman na gamitin ni student even after class. So, open siya. For that one, medyo less din yung control ni teacher compared sa codable.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And the last question po, many of our viewers are asking, are this application for free?
Yes, this is for free. So, nung dinownload ko siya, hindi rin ako nagbayad and hindi siya nag-ask ng anything from me like yung credit card number for free trial. So, wala siyang gano'n. This is all for free.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering the questions of our viewers. That's all that we have for now. Do you have any last reminders po for our viewers?
I just hope that you can enjoy this and let's expose to our students ito talagang basic programming at an early age kasi it would help them a lot.
There we have it. In behalf of VIBAL Group Incorporated, I would like to thank you, ma'am, for being our speaker for this morning, for giving us this insightful and fun learning session. It is truly an honor to have you with us today, ma'am. And to all our VIBAL viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. We do encourage you to subscribe and watch on our official VIBAL Facebook page and YouTube channel. Muli maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat. Stay safe everyone. See you later on YouTube.